Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Secret Origins of Mint Condition. I am one of your hosts, James, and after 7 long years, the man without fear has come back. We are here to talk about Daredevil Born Again, at least the first two episodes that are currently on Disney Plus. Probably when this episode airs, the episode 3, possibly 4 will be out, but we're just here talking about the first two episodes. So, joining me in Hell's Kitchen to talk about all things Daredevil is, of course, Joe.
Thank you, James. I'm going to avoid riding the subway in Hell's Kitchen if I can.
And also joining us is Keith Tarnowski.
Hey James, hey Joe. Yeah, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen is back. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so it's been 7 years. A lot has happened. It feels like forever, but I guess it doesn't feel that long since we at least saw Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio reprise their roles a little bit. But this feels like a real return to form for Daredevil. So I guess, audience, one, we're going to be spoiling things. So if you've not seen the first two episodes, please pause, come back, and that. And also, audience, we just kind of jump around and talk about highlights. If you're looking for a play-by-play, there's plenty of places
Hmm.
that do that. So Joe and Keith, I'll just start off. I guess Joe, what did you think of the first two episodes? We'll just do our overview.
Well, I guess things pick up where they left off. I did not see what happened to Wilson Fisk and Hawkeye. Never completed that. Only two episodes in. I did not watch Echo, and so that's why I have questions for you guys. As a whole, so far, I'm enjoying it. I think it's deadly serious. It's a drama thriller, unlike anything we've ever seen on Marvel Disney TV, I think. And I just hope that they're going to continue along this path and not quote unquote Disneyfy it and start telling stupid jokes and stuff like that. I don't need to see that. Just keep this where it's going. This is a real world setting, quote unquote, superheroes. But I think so far, after the first two episodes, they got me hooked, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
Yeah, I listened to some of the online reviews and some of the commentary for Easter eggs and stuff because there's things in here like I've got questions too. I have no idea who the White Tiger is. I've
Okay.
never, outside of maybe Bendis's run. Did Bendis's run have the White Tiger in it?
Um, if I recall correctly, it might have been, but either that or Brubaker. I don't really
Oh,
remember much
Brubaker,
about the
yeah.
character either, but I did enjoy the character. I like what's going on there, but I also feel like in the comics there might have been a guy, but then later it was very quickly. I feel like later it was a woman, White Tiger. I could be. I haven't read Brubaker's run in a long time, but I almost felt like it was much less of the guy version, the male version, and then it was the woman for the most of the time I was reading it.
Okay, yeah, because I had to watch some videos to catch some Marvel history that I missed. But I think there's a few people who have seen the whole series, and they said it keeps with the same tone. So I
Okay,
don't think.
okay.
But Keith, what did you think overall of the first two episodes?
I loved it. So I really, I mean, I've been very excited for this show, and I was gonna watch it that night when it dropped on Tuesday, but I was working in the city and I had a couple drinks at to work for a happy hour, and I just didn't want to be fuzzy when I watched it. I wanted to really be totally clear and aware. The next day, I was about to watch it. I was gonna put it off a little bit longer because I had something else I might have had to do. But then I saw all these people talking about spoilers online, and I got
I
scared.
got scared. You better get to it. Yeah.
So I watched it, then I couldn't shut it off. The first 15 minutes, so much happens right before the openings, music and the all that stuff. I was blown away. I mean, like heartbreaking, but just amazing first 15 minutes. It brought you right back in. It just ripped your heart out, and I'm so invested again. I loved
Yeah,
it.
it was yeah. So again, audience spoilers, spoilers. So because we're going to talk about the first 15 minutes, and the
Yeah.
first 15 minutes are sort of the
Gigantic spoiler.
gigantic spoiler and set the pace. I think for the entire series, it seems like. But I loved it. I thought the first 15 minutes obviously was fantastic. I'm hesitant to say I'm always saying it almost as good as the hallway fight, only because the hallway fight was so surprising that it's hard to get the surprise back. But that first 15 minutes with him having it out with a fully realized bullseye in the MCU was pretty incredible and really comic booky the way they came in and out of panels. Like they feel like, you know, when you do panel shots and you see someone go off panel and then come back into panel, and their fight was outside and then upstairs and then on the roof. It was amazing. It was a great way. Yeah.
There was some CGI there, unlike the full hallway fight, which was all practical. But overall, it works. It works, and it's very extremely violent.
Yeah.
And,
It's funny you mentioned the hallway scene. My son had never seen the Daredevil series before because, you know, he'll turn 20 in a couple months. So he was obviously, when it started, like 11 years old or something like that, and he wasn't going to watch that. But Saturday night, because he wants to watch Born Again, him and I started watching the original series together. We got about 4 episodes in, and I had forgotten and I watched that show a lot back then. I'd forgotten the hallway scene was in episode 2, and he was blown away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, "This is intense." He was just like, yeah, I know. I felt the same way the first time. Even watching it now, years later, I'm like, oh, it's like so like nervous for Matt, you know?
Yeah, it's one of the few, like, the Daredevil like, again, this is like, I think they definitely recaptured the Netflix tone with Disney. I guess some of the money from Disney, because now Daredevil can swing around and run on buildings the way he couldn't in Netflix. But that fight with Bullseye, and then going back to the hallway fight, you never get to see superheroes tired. They were both like tired.
Yeah, they were panting, and you know, it looked like a boxing match at that point, where the two boxers have to be separated by the ref because they're leaning on each other in the middle of the ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
What I always like about Daredevil, you know, obviously it's not realistic in so many ways, but you know, it's a tricky thing to kind of get that perfect line between trying to look realistic in a superhero world, and you know, sometimes it can make it look even sillier. But they've always gotten it really well. I think something like that, just the moment of the panting, like you said, is just another example of this kind of making you, you know, feel like it's the real world and feel like you're, you know, makes you more invested.
Yeah, because like with the most superheroes, again, I know Matt has superpowers, is, you know, but he's, you know, most superhero battles you see in all these movies and stuff, they just go on and on, like they're never, like you saw Thor get a little tired in Avengers when he got stabbed by Loki, like he was a little for a moment down, but after that he was fine. He was fine.
Yeah, he like held it aside. He was like, that was it.
You rarely ever see Superman get winded, right? When he's fighting somebody. Yeah, so yeah.
Or Batman never gets winded, or nobody.
Oh, no, but yeah, that's
But it grounds the reality a little bit, and then, you know, Bullseye shoots Foggy, and I really thought they were going for that Chip Zdarsky thing where he was going to outright kill, like Bullseye was. I mean, he was Bullseye, for all intents and purposes, should be dead.
Yes.
And I thought they were going to go there. So I was surprised when Bullseye's eyes like flickered. I mean, that's so much that Bullseye couldn't survive that because he survived worse in the comic books. But I was almost thinking they were going to go with Daredevil being, you know, a murderer, like they did that storyline in the comic books.
Well, back in the day, and Arco and Steve Perel out there, maybe Keith remembers, who knows, Daredevil did throw Bullseye off the roof when he killed Elektra.
Oh, so maybe, I guess so.
So that was kind of a callback to that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Okay. The Frank Miller run. Yeah.
Frank Miller
Okay.
run, yeah.
So.
I feel like I never know 100% how I feel about it. But I just prefer with Daredevil not killing. Obviously, he can come close. He can, you know, a situation like this where it's just the writing kind of saved Bullseye. But I prefer him not killing. I just do. I know it's one of those super unrealistic things where he probably, you know, throwing guys off roofs and all the stuff he does. Someone's probably died, or they should have at least. But not being like overt about it and kind of like really knowing it or seeing it being purposeful, just seeing it at all. I kind of prefer that. Someone was making fun of me recently because I was like, yeah, it's one of the things I don't like about like the Snyder Batman, him just going in there willy-nilly killing on purpose with the guns and all that. But like this person pointed out, well, you love Batman Returns when he's like throwing guys off the roof. He put like that bomb on the guy's like a belt, and this you see him you see like a puff blow up thing later. I'm like, yeah, but in my head they were okay. Like they didn't die.
Like the circus of crime and
Yeah.
Well, I just had a train of thought knocked out of my head.
Well, in the Zdarsky run, sorry, Joe. I was going to say, just in the Zdarsky run, like Daredevil doesn't it's an accident that happens. Like, it is an accident that happens. Matt,
I didn't read that run. I didn't read it. I got to get to it one day.
The first and middle part are really good. The finale doesn't quite get there, but
because it goes from being very grounded in a crime thriller to becoming a fantasy adventure, and But later on, Bullseye does get his skeleton partially laced with adamantium. So I guess that's why he can survive the fall from. He doesn't have a healing factor, but the way I understand it, the reason why Wolverine survives that intrusion of the adamantium is because of his healing factor. By the time they got to Daredevil, and I don't know who did it again, Arco, please, that the process was more perfected. So this is comic books, and I don't know, because he did get upgraded at the end of season 3, right?
Yes.
Bullseye did.
Yes.
So there's reasons for him, surviving that fall, I guess. You can't kill, Matt's right hand man and Matt's arch enemy in the first 15 minutes. That's just too much.
Yeah. And I'm assuming also, again, jumping all around, I'm assuming the fight at the end of episode 2 with the 2 police officers, those officers are alive, I'm assuming. I mean, no, they're severely injured. I mean, but I agree with you, Keith. I prefer, like, the Zdarsky run was good because it was a mistake that happened that caused the death of that civilian. But I also would like my Daredevil not to be, purposely, killing people, much like my Batman. So
then what's the difference between him and the bad guys? I mean, it's just.
I mean, that was the whole line between him and Frank Castle was like he's the Punisher is the Punisher. He's got a line.
I like my heroes. Listen, if it's I'm watching Game of Thrones, it's different. I applaud it or something, but like I like my superheroes to be like kind of noble as much as they can be. I guess that's always the trope of the story. You get as close to the line without going over the line, and especially with Daredevil, with the just his own faith, always
his Catholicism, yes,
exactly. Wrestling with his faith and his Catholicism, and also his daytime job of being a lawyer. Like that's part of the intrigue is like he does not cross that line.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it drives me nuts when people try to like explain. Well, but he would have this. Would have it's like when it comes to like a Superman thing and Man of Steel or something like that. I'm like, no, it happened because the writer wrote it. Like
exactly.
He's supposed to be like aspirational character. Like they're supposed to be better than us so they can inspire us and. Not that you can't bring them down to that edge and really push them and all that. And they can do other things sometimes that aren't quite as noble. But I prefer it that way. So I'm glad. I hate Bullseye, but especially because I love Foggy so much. But I'm glad he didn't die.
That was.
It's gonna be like this isn't a comic book where if Foggy died like he has before, he could be brought back. It's gonna be weird not having. It's like an emptiness to the show not having Foggy, especially if it's going to go on more than one season or if it'll be a movie one day. Like I don't know.
Well, the showrunner was very cryptic because they basically shot 18 episodes, I think, at the same time, so they might still be shooting. Or he said that Foggy would be back in season 2.
Yeah, so I was watching John Campia's reaction today, and Campia brought that up too. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
really.
Yep.
Well, about this to kind of go back to the 18 episode thing. I had thought that was the original game plan for when they first started shooting. But then when they scrapped those 8 episodes because they didn't like the direction of it, I thought it was going back to like an 8 to 10 episode kind of thing.
No, they're definitely doing season 2, and from what I understand, I think it was originally supposed to be 24, then they moved it to 18.
Oh, okay. Okay. Between 2 seasons. Okay. Oh, and Foggy's gonna. Okay, all right. Oh, who knows in what kind of capacity, right? I mean.
Well, they brought back Elektra, and the Hand brought her back. I don't know, like how we can.
But I feel like usually, not always, obviously, but I feel like a lot of times when they do stuff like that in this kind of world too, they usually don't come back the same bird. Like they're kind of bad or there's something wrong.
Unless it's gonna be like flashbacks. Maybe they're doing the Frank Miller. I don't know. Maybe they're going back to like them in college or something. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
that opening, I was so happy to see them all together. They really did it right. Because I was so happy to see all 3 of them joking around, giving Foggy a hard time for like kind of acting all like cool in front of that woman. And then bam, I'm like, oh, I watched it twice. Once myself and once with my girlfriend, and I was heartbroken both times. It felt like a punch right in the heart.
Yeah, I kept going like, oh, the ambulance is gonna get there in time. He's not gonna.
Yeah, like me too. Because it happened too soon too. And now it also, then you got Karen living in San Francisco. I'm like, come on.
Well,
what are you doing over here?
It kind of makes sense that she would leave. She would want to get away after that horrific, opening. She would want to cut ties not only with Matt but with New York City. I kind of get that, but I'm sure she'll be back. She came back for the sentencing of Poindexter.
I hope
So
she comes back. I like Karen a lot,
yeah,
especially in the show. Because honestly, I haven't read a ton of stuff with her in the comics, but the stuff I read, again, I read the only stories I read with her really was Born Again, and then when she died in Guardian Devil. Oh, and like Daredevil Yellow as well. But so I really like the show version. So I hope she comes back.
Yeah, yeah. They yeah, I hope she comes back too. I mean, yeah, it was a. I also read that because they used some of the footage, they used some of the stuff that the previous creators had shot because they
I
still get
read that too.
credited,
Yeah. Mhm.
and so that first 15 minutes we saw was reshot footage. The original show, I think, opened up with what happened. They just all happened off screen.
Oh, really? No, you can't do
Imagine.
Yeah,
that. No,
yeah, they
that's
were going to open up saying, I guess that he stopped being Daredevil because Foggy was killed by Bullseye, but that was all going to be explanatory and not shown. So
Wow. I had thought. I guess I was wrong. Thought I heard somewhere that Foggy and Karen weren't going to originally be in this show because it
I
took place
heard
during the
that too.
snap, and they were going to be snapped away.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I'm glad that didn't happen. I like the fact that this show is kind of divorced from the quote unquote main Marvel universe. Although in episode 2, Mayor Fisk's first announcement to the city of New York, he mentions about the vigilantes, the one who dresses up with the skull and the one who dresses up in the spider suit. So I was like, and the one, of course, the Daredevil. But I was happy that they mentioned Spider Man because Spider-Man is such an intricate part of the Kingpin's lineage and his story, and I would more than hope somehow, some way, throughout somewhere in these episodes, there's at least one cameo of Tom Holland as
I
Spider-Man.
was just going to ask. Do you think that's
I think
possible?
they've
We'll
got
see
to do that.
something.
I think they've got to do that.
I feel like, I mean, I would love them to do it. I don't know if they will do it. I mean, it feels like almost like an Easter egg that he's putting out there for later. Like he
Mhm.
mentioned Spider Man,
He didn't mention Spider-Man, not by name,
and
but the Spider.
and Daredevil and Spider Man are like, they hang out a lot together.
They've been joined
So
at the hip since the mid '60s, since the Silver Age. Daredevil, Peter Parker, and Matt Murdock.
I could see really good chemistry between Charlie Cox and Tom Holland too. I could
Oh,
see.
yeah.
I know we already saw them in that one scene in Far From Home. I mean, No
Mhm.
Way Home, but I could see them that be a fun kind of team up between those two.
Yeah,
yeah,
I completely agree.
I
I
mean,
almost want them to go more in the Ultimate Spider-Man way, where he was just like Spider-Man was like fanboying over Daredevil so much. I loved it,
I
and he was
mean,
annoyed by him.
Well, they can still do that here. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like something similar. It would have to be listen, because Spider-Man in the MCU is very, he's earned his place there. He's proven himself to be a hero. In the Ultimate Universe, he was very new and was still doing like making sloppy kind of kid mistakes. But
Mhm.
so that's something like that would be fun.
I mean, I think it'd be good to like. I don't know how much like. Well, one, I think it would blow people's minds if Tom Holland shows up. I'm 50-50 if they'll do it or not. But I think it would be good for Tom Holland Spider Man to like have Daredevil because like nobody knows who Peter Parker is anymore. Like he could at least have a friend again.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, no one. Yeah.
He's got no superhero friends right now. Everyone's forgotten who he was. So it'd be good if he could at least have a relationship with Matt.
Yeah, some kind of yeah. I would also love to see Kingpin be a villain in a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
Keeping
That'd
more
be
grounded.
honestly, it would make sense because he doesn't have Stark's tech anymore. His threats, he has to be more an earthbound kind of street level kind of threat now.
Hasn't it been mentioned that the next Spider-Man film might be a more street level type of?
Yeah.
I would like to see that. Enough with the multiverse. Enough with time stones and things like that, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I love all that stuff, but we've had a lot of it, and we're gonna see him in that role in whatever, if he's either in Doom War or Secret Wars or whatever. Like, we're gonna see that anyway. So yeah, one like street level Kingpin movie or something would be fun, and then that'd be a great opportunity too for Charlie Cox.
Yeah. Be good if this show like led into that movie. If they like,
yeah.
either
What do you
this
guys
season-
what do you think of the new suit compared to the one he had in the show, which I know he didn't always wear, but like did you like it more? Did you like it the same or indifferent?
I couldn't tell. There was because the fight scene at the beginning is very dark. There are points where it's extremely dark, but it does work obviously. Did he have a DD on his chest or a D or anything? I don't think he had.
I don't think he had DD,
he
but
No.
it definitely was. Believe it or not, I think it was a little bit lighter, a little more red than that like
Yes, it
Illumination
was. It
red.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first one's more maroon.
I like that
Oh, right.
actually.
I like that. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's like more of a contrast at night too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I
I
like,
thought it was good.
yeah,
It was good. I liked
yeah. I
it.
like the new suit. I like. I'm curious when he finally he suits up again. I like that he has like an arsenal of Daredevil costumes that he
Mm-hmm.
because you got to see the black suit in there, obviously
Oh
the yellow suit. There's a silver suit in there, which I don't remember him wearing, unless that's just for the show. But
Wow, I don't remember that
I
either.
know he's got a lot of suits. He's got as many suits as Spider-Man and
Or
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember silver either. I remember like a black probably a couple times, but I remember that during like Shadow War or Shadowland.
With
Shadowland.
Shadowland,
Shadowland.
yeah. So, but yeah, I like the new suit. I've always liked the Netflix. I like the Netflix suit too. I mean, it's a good translation for the
Yeah.
idea and the concept of Daredevil. So, um, yeah, I think like I said, we spent 20 minutes talking about the first 15 minutes, but it's worth it because like I mean the rest of the 2 episodes obviously are very compelling. I mean Matt's in a better, worse place, I guess. With at least job wise, and then his arch nemesis gets elected mayor. Which once again, I was telling Joe off before the mics went hot was like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is probably the most well developed MCU villain out of all of them. He's
Yeah,
also
really, no
he also
comparison, right?
yeah he's also got he knows this character really really well and can portray him.
Yeah, no, he's got the character. His transition from crime boss to mayor. I do you think he went into that meeting with his wife when he crashed that meeting? I think he already knew he was gonna run for mayor, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but
And by the way, I love that too. I love his relationship with Vanessa in the original show. Like they're a trick. I mean, they're bad guys, so I get it, but they're like a true partnership. They always have been. They just like have each other's back.
yeah, well
And
now though I don't know. She's the femme fatale now. No, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her
I,
right now.
I, as far as him, I didn't get that impression. I feel like she loves him and has his back. I feel like
Oh, he
sometimes
loves
she
her,
needs to
yeah.
be kind of like reassured that he's in it or what's going on in his head. But my impression is that like she's always had his back. I mean, it'd be a crazy twist if she kind of like stabs him in the back. But um,
She
I don't know. I didn't get that impression.
she was pretty full of herself. How she told him how she took the company and made it even better. You know,
Yeah, but I think
his
she
crime
leveled it
empire.
also with like, they only got scared because you walked in or something like, or they like that I make them money, but like you drive fear into them. I don't know, you might be right, but I didn't get that impression watching it. I always just kind of had this like I thought they were like they're a, partner in crime.
Now she does have another lover though, right? Because didn't she ask him not? Would you promise me you won't kill so and so? I can't think of the guy's name. When they're on the roof after the election, they're looking down in the city.
Daredevil, I think she meant. No,
I don't think it was Daredevil. No, I think it was the guy. Because she said when they go to counseling, she said that there was a void to fill. You know, more than just him not being there. She sat by his bedside all those months when he was recovering. Then he disappears for 2 years. He kind of just the heck with you, lady. I'm going away.
I gotta rewatch that scene. I feel at that part I thought because he was looking down. I thought maybe the Matt was in this. I don't know. I got to rewatch that. I got to watch that scene.
Yeah.
Couple therapy was a funny image though, right?
It was funny. Yeah, that was a. I mean, I feel like kind of feel like Keith right now. I mean, I kind of feel like that Vanessa was just emotionally hurt and felt
Oh,
betrayed.
she was definitely hurt and betrayed. Yes, without a doubt.
I don't think that she's looking to take him out. I think she just.
Mm.
I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm kind of wondering where the whole. I mean, he's got to have an angle for the mayor thing, other than just like I don't really see the angle that he has yet for the mayor thing, other than like more power and control that I guess he's going to funnel into his own enterprise with Vanessa. But I think
Well, that could very well be it. Yeah, if I can keep skimming off the top and keep basically raiding the coffers of New York City, there's hundreds of billions of dollars to be had here, and more power to go with it. Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's leverage. Also, I mean, he again. I know that they've said it's a recreation of that scene from Heat, but them sitting in the diner.
Oh, I see. I thought the same thing. See, I thought it was just me. I'm glad you thought that too. Yeah, that's the vibe I got. The scene from
Totally,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
And I love that scene.
Oh, that's the best scene in the movie.
Oh, it's
That's the only
incredible.
time the two principals are together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that scene. I mean, that's a really good movie, but
That's
that
the best
scene
scene.
puts it over the top. You know what I mean? I love that scene in the diner. I liked it almost like, yeah, it almost was like a bit of, like even, Kingpin says it himself. He's like, it's not entirely, unpleasant to see you. It's like, I think that happens sometimes with like, with enemies or things in life. Sometimes like the nostalgia for something even bad could make you feel somewhat like, oh, okay, like you're something I'm comfortable with. I'm like, I got that impression that they both were, I feel like Matt was almost rooting for, even though he didn't believe it, but he would almost like kind of like root for Kingpin to be like, to knock this, knock it off and be somewhat decent now. And I think that Kingpin was like really, he wasn't lying. He was kind of pleasantly like surprised to see him. And I think that's why he even told him he had nothing to do with Foggy's death. It's like a mutual respect or something building more than they ever had in the
Well,
other show.
I think it's a mutual respect, but I think it's also a mutual fear of each other because what I got from that scene, first of all, it was filmed very well. I mean, it was very close quartered, very tight to give you that sense of fear and almost claustrophobic. And these are two very broken men. Obviously, I don't mean physically, but they have been that too. But I mean mentally. And what I got out of that is that Matt and Wilson, they're not the real guys. It's kind of like Bruce Wayne. He's not the real guy. It's Batman. Daredevil and the Kingpin are Matt and Wilson Fisk are their masks, but Daredevil and the Kingpin are the real guys, and they were kind of like feeling each other out in that scene, like a couple of heavyweight boxers, warning each other not to step out of line. So yeah, I think there is that mutual respect, but I also think there's that you know, if either you step out of line, you step out of line, I'm going to come at you and bring all hell to bear.
Yeah.
And it was filmed so well. Another thing about the filming of this TV series, I don't think you guys ever watched Blue Bloods, right? Which I always expound upon how much I love that. It was obviously filmed in New York, and I just got that vibe that it just some of the scenes, some of the location shots, it just felt like a crime drama, which is supposed to be, and it made me think about Blue Bloods, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So it's just so well filmed, and the photography and the cinematography just great.
Yeah. I mean, if you take out those first 15 minutes, the rest of the two episodes is basically like it is a crime drama. It's
Yeah.
basically
Well,
it's a lawyer crime. It's a lawyer crime drama.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lawyer. It's a law. Now we've introduced the White Tiger thing, and him being
okay.
well, not really set up, but him being involved with something shady the cops were doing. Accidentally killing a police officer and now being on trial for it. It's moving into like I guess the undercurrent. I guess the other undercurrent, other than Wilson Fisk being mayor, is going to be the trial of the White Tiger.
Right. Hector Ayala, created by Bill Mantlo and George Perez. Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, number 19, 1975. So he's been around for 50 years, the White Tiger.
Wow.
In one form or another. So yeah. He didn't push that cop into the train. That cop tripped over the other cop.
Yeah, he was fighting him in the
Yeah.
I mean, I a little more of a not as big of a first appearance or anything, but I was happy to see that they were using a character created by Mark Waid in his more light, fun run that I loved.
Oh, Kirsten
McDuffie. Mark Waid created her.
Yes.
I mean, Matt dated her, if I remember correctly.
Well, they meet in New York, and then they go to San Francisco to set up a law office?
Later on, yeah.
Later on, yeah.
Yeah, but like I think originally they were dating briefly. I mean, I love as much as I love the Dark Daredevil stuff. I love the Wade stuff when he's wearing the "I'm not Daredevil" shirt and all that. It's so funny.
Yeah, Daredevil Volume 3, Number 1. That's the introduction of Kirsten McDuffie.
Yeah.
And this Daredevil 126 Volume 1 is the introduction of Heather Glenn, who was not a psychologist back then. She was a socialite's daughter. She was a daughter of a billionaire, so a socialite. And she literally barges into Matt's apartment one day, and she winds up working for Nelson and Murdoch in their storefront law firm. And they have a relationship. And I haven't read that far yet. I haven't seen because I don't remember from back in the day. I don't know what happens to her, but like most of Matt's girlfriends, look out. It doesn't usually go too well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heather Glenn comes from the. She's been around since almost as long as the White Tiger, 50 years. Yeah.
I didn't
Wow.
know that. I thought she was created for the show. I
No,
didn't
no,
know that.
she's a character created by Marv Wolfman and Bob Brown.
Yeah.
That's who did this book. Yeah.
It was a good meet cute between the two of them. It was
Mhm.
it was a
It
Yeah.
was fun.
yeah, it was fun. And
And the actress that plays, and I should have wrote her name down now. That actually plays Kirsten McDuffie. She's great because I love the chemistry she has with the Charlie Cox. And she's kind of like his conscience. No, don't take this on now. Let's start small. Don't be going, don't go off crusading again. And she quips, tells, she zings him here and there with little jokes. So I want to see how that's going to develop. But right now, again, I'm sorry I didn't write the actress' name down, but I think she's amazing. And I love the chemistry between her and Charlie Cox.
And she had that cute moment with Foggy too before he died.
Yeah.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, the cast is great. I love the oh my god, Ben Urich's niece.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's right. Ben
That
Urich's
was
niece.
like as soon as they said Urich, I'm like, oh, Kingpin killed him in the first season, I think, or second.
Yes.
I love Ben Urich. I love Ben
Yes,
Urich.
I loved. It was so sad when I was like, I can't believe the king. That was like the other thing. I can't believe Kingpin killed Ben Urich. Like,
Big character.
because I was like, aren't they building the Marvel universe? And you just took out Ben Urich. You just took
Yeah,
out Ben Urich.
well,
Yeah.
they just took him out.
And then within that story itself, he had a sick wife at home. Like, come on. I'm like, we can take care of her.
I was like, we didn't even get the scene with J. Jonah Jameson. I'm like, you took out Ben Urich.
There's,
I want them
another,
to argue.
there's another cameo I'd like to see. J. Jonah Jameson, writing an editorial about the mayor, and the mayor goes to the office of the Daily Bugle to see him, storms in, maybe that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be a good scene too. Yeah. Oh, Joe, just to answer your question, the Kristen McDuffie's played by Nikki James.
Thank you, James. Thank you. She's very good.
Yeah,
I really when she's on the screen, you notice her. She's really good.
Yeah, it was good. And then and what do we have? The guy who's trying to get close to Kingpin. That's James Gandolfini's son.
Kid, yeah.
Michael Gandolfini.
He's good.
Yeah,
He's really good.
he's good. Yeah. I don't know what his angle is though. Is he just trying to
I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say if he's genuine and how he's behaving. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Also,
maybe he's working for the mob over in North Jersey. From the old TV show, Sopranos.
I don't know if it's just a throwaway thing or alluding to something that's going to happen either this season or next season. But one of the and I thought so that opening scene when Vanessa, or the scene when Vanessa is first talking to the other
Five families
criminals before Wilson comes in. One of the characters' name was Silk, and that was from the Bendis run. That's the guy who tries to take over, and actually he takes over for a brief bit from the Kingpin. And then Kingpin comes back and destroys him, but he's the one who betrays him, and he basically gets what do they call them, your lieutenants or your capo, whatever they call your leaders,
capo,
under you though when you're a crime lord,
an underboss.
And that was the name of the story from Bendis, Underboss.
Mm-hmm.
His first full story, Bendis, and he convinces a bunch of them to hold a mutiny, and they all stab Fisk, and then they think he's dead, but he's not dead. He goes to the hospital. He comes back a while later, and I think Vanessa helps him or something. I forget what happened, but
I gotta reread those books. Man.
So I was like, I wonder if they're planting the seeds. But even the scene when they introduced them for a second before Vanessa came in reminded me of the scene from the comic a little bit, because it was I don't know, something about it visually, how they laid it out.
Maybe they took that scene from that panel. Sure, why the hell not?
Something I don't know. It's kind of we all love speculating.
Yeah.
Oh,
surprised they didn't have the owl sitting there. Could have put the owl.
Oh, Owsley, yeah.
He put an Owsley in there.
What happened to him? Did he survive the first series, Owsley?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened to Owsley.
I remember he was the guy from the Shawshank Redemption. He's a good actor.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know, because I know in Zdarsky's run that Wilson Fisk's son comes into play, and he's trying to become the head of the crime family.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But that can't be who Michael Gandolfini's playing, right? Because
who knows?
Unless it's like a son, like that was sticking in my mind, just like that his play, that he's really like Wilson Fisk's son that he doesn't know about for some reason, and he's trying to get close enough to him either to meet his father or to follow him. I don't know. We'll see that's what I was getting, but in this timeline, I'm like I don't know if that works out for the character, but
So the Zdarsky run is good.
the
The
first
first 2/3 of it are yes.
yeah.
And then he takes over the fist to fight the hand. I think that's right. And it gets a little, and they have an island, and there's a lot of killing, and he's involved in it, and it's just not. Let's put it this way: Mark Waid would not have written that story.
Yeah.
I think
Daredevil that way.
I think what threw me off when I was about to read it at one point is I read some stuff like the stuff you just said online about like some things that kind of happened. I'm like, it just sounded like, I know a lot of times they redo stories in the past, but it sounded very much like Brubaker's run. Matt goes to jail, and Matt went to jail and Brubaker's run. So there's a temporary Daredevil. I know Elektra becomes Daredevil in Zdarsky, but like
right.
Iron Fist did in Brubaker's. And
That's
then he's taken over the hand and Brubaker. So I was like, I don't know, it just seemed like, okay, I don't know. Like that's, to me, I was like, what are you doing, like at Brubaker Light or something? It just kind of bugged me, but I want to go back and talk about it fondly.
Not as grounded as the Brubaker run.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that third act, it gets a little. I think it just.
Yeah. But the first two acts are good. Like,
oh, they're really the first acts.
Him on the streets having to like defend himself against the I forget the character's name, but that cop who eventually befriends him.
Oh,
he was fantastic.
Yes.
He's fantastic.
Character.
And then when he does eventually go to jail, he goes to jail as Daredevil, not Matt Murdock, and that's very interesting.
So he's a target in jail, obviously.
Yeah. So it's
like
I said that
Ollie went to jail in Arrow.
Yeah, that first section on the streets and the second section in the jail are very good.
Very good. And throughout the entire series, most of the artwork is by Marco Tichetto, so you can't go wrong.
Beautiful.
Beautifully illustrated.
Beautifully, yeah.
I mean, currently, or even at that time, but who knows what changes now. I'm pretty sure he's got a secret identity again. But did he have a secret identity again in that whole run?
Yes, he maintained he was Matt Murdock. Well, he maintains the visage of Matt Murdock the whole time.
Okay, because I know that I think Bendis or someone gave it back to him through Mephisto or something like that at one point. Because he was exposed from Bendis, Brubaker.
Didn't Waid give it back to him with the purple?
No. Jason Aaron, he had that whole thing. No, what happened was, it was never like everyone knew, but there was never any evidence. It never was like proven. So what Waid did, he has leaned into it. He was like, I'm not. He's like, he stopped almost denying it. And he would joke around.
Right.
Like he wore the "I'm not Daredevil" like shirt to like a ugly sweater party at Christmas, and like he kind of just like joked about it to the point where people were like, he's not Daredevil, like kind of like that. But everything was still in play from what happened before. But then I heard that so every criminal who really knew, like still knew, and like all the heroes. But then I remember when I read Bendis's Defenders miniseries years later, Matt had to like tell like Luke and Jessica and Danny like his identity again because they didn't remember. It was almost like a Wally West thing when the Spectre, the world knew that they knew his identity at one point, but they knew that someone messed with their memories now. So it was very similar to that.
Okay, I thought the purple.
I think Matt just had to take his like mask off or something, and they remembered like everything. That's actually a really good story.
Wasn't Wilson Fisk? Was that in Chip Zdarsky's one where he's wrestling with that he knows something but he can't remember it? Like I think he remembers that he used to know who Daredevil was, and it was like driving him. Like that happened in one of the stories. I can't remember which one.
That's funny. That's good. That's great.
Like it's like upsetting him, and I can't remember if that was in the Zdarsky run. Maybe I gotta have to go back to that. But
it wasn't Mephisto, right? Or someone who gave him his secret identity back.
I don't know. I thought it was the purple. I thought it was the Purple Man, but I guess
that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds right. So yeah,
because he can mind control. Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we should.
Yeah. I digress.
Get back to other Daredevil stuff. I guess the other thing is like, I guess to like kind of get to where we were in the end of episode 2 is like, I wonder where that's gonna go because like if he, like I said, I don't think he killed those police officers. I think he just.
But he broke that scene where he breaks the guy's arm. That is real. I mean, I cringed.
I did.
And the other guy, he just smashed his head into the refrigerator a few times. So now, if they're alive, and I think they are,
yeah, I
Matt is already involved in this high-profile trial of Hector Ayala, right?
Yeah.
Well, aren't those two cops going to go to their chief of detectives and say, "You got to arrest the lawyer because he attacked us"?
Well, I figured. I mean, they're dirty cops, right? They work.
Yeah.
So
Well, you see, one guy had the Punisher.
yeah, yes.
I can't think of that cop's name. I love the way he found Hector by following that cop, and that was really cool. Matt's a great detective too. Besides being,
I have a feeling he's not going to tell superiors because I think for a couple of reasons. Like,
well, then
he's
they would
not
be
police
then,
superiors.
yeah, they would out themselves as bad cops.
Yeah, that and also, like what does Matt always say? Like, got taken down by a blind man, that whole thing. But I think
Well,
it's
there is
something
that too. I
that,
forgot that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't. I think it's in their best interest to keep it to themselves.
Hmm.
But will that make Fisk go after Matt? Remember, he said if you start up the same activities again, I'm going to come after you.
But I forgot that he had the Punisher tattoo. Maybe if Frank is controlling them, doesn't Frank know who Matt Murdock is? He knows he's Daredevil, right?
I think so.
So he might be
Yeah,
like,
he does.
leave him alone, or
I
whatever.
think Punisher's like could be controlled. I thought that tattoo was something else, like from the people who controlled him. Like, did mess with him, or am I wrong?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean they'll have to do that. Yeah, because I don't know. Maybe they could also go with the whole I can't imagine Matt would also be on trial while he's trying to defend the White. I mean that's a lot of storylines to keep in the air.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Matt's gonna, unless Matt goes to prison at the end of this season for what he did in season.
Could happen.
Okay.
I wonder what episode Frank comes in at. Like, I'm eager to see him again.
Probably soon because we saw the tattoo, so I guess he can't be far behind, right? Yeah.
And they just announced that there's a Punisher special being written by John Berthal that's going to be coming. So
yeah, and it's like something he
another
says
actor-
that Punisher
another
fans
actor writing a
deserve, and
comic
we've all
book.
been waiting for or something.
Actors shouldn't write comic books. They should get comic book writers to write comic books.
I know. I think Bernthal can do it. Bernthal's a very.
I hope so.
I think he has as much respect for the Punisher character as like Charlie Cox and.
Oh, I don't question his respect for the character. I question his acumen in writing. A comic book.
I mean, if he writes, I will just say I don't really like the Punisher. The only Punisher I've ever liked, and I quote liked, the only Punisher I've enjoyed, enjoyed. I don't even say that word. John Berthal's portrayal of him is the most, palatable to me of the Punisher.
Me too.
I've tried to read I've always shied away. And the one I read the classic Garth Ennis, Welcome Back Frank, and I barely. It just wasn't for me. I know it's like a book and everyone loves it, but Punisher as a character just doesn't land at all with me.
I was able to handle the character when he was introduced in Amazing Spider-Man, and he was a supporting character in that book for a while, and Peter and Frank had obviously a very torrid relationship because Peter didn't believe it, But he was using, I think he was using rubber bullets back then. So yeah, it's the 70s, and they couldn't have outright murder.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of the Punisher in comics really, and even most of those movies. But I think John Barenthal and the writers of the original show, really brought a humanity to him, and made him really more sympathetic. And even the show after, he wasn't this really going out, if I remember correctly, looking for he's not the psycho in the books, who's just going out for revenge all the time. Now it almost seemed like he wanted to be left alone after that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can get behind that character more than what did Captain America say to him in Civil War, when he killed someone or something for Cap, and Cap beat the hell out of him. He's like, "You're not like me." He's like, "You're a psychopath."
Exactly.
You're long past getting even if I did condone the revenge for your family, you're long past that, man.
Yeah.
I like the more sympathetic version from Daredevil, but yeah, I'm with you, James. In general, I'm just he's just not I'm not into that ultra I don't know. I liked Rambo back in the day, but he always had a good reason, and they kept on messing with him.
I guess, I never liked the Punisher to begin with, but I guess in my older age now, I really like violent movies for violent movies' sakes don't land well with me, and obviously I don't like my heroes engaging in it in an extreme level. Like, not, I mean, it just I don't know. Some of this stuff just doesn't land well with me, and it's, again, there's plenty of people who love the Punisher character for lots of different reasons, and I'm not saying.
Yeah, no, I agree, James.
It's just not a character for me. This is
sorry, Zack Snyder. Superman would have never snapped Zod's neck.
Yes.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. That scene though in the apartment when he finds the witness and he says, I have a friend waiting for you in Fort Tyrone Park, and he says, when the guy's pointing the gun at his head, he goes, "Don't do this, please don't do this." And I got a vibe right then and there of Bruce Banner in the Incredible Hulk, and he hulks out, and I think that plays to the scene in the diner when they're going back and forth about each other, and they're trying to be friendly and cordial and reserved, but they're both seething with Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock. And so this is Matt's moment to lose it. And I thought when the Chief Gallo, Commissioner Gallo, came into the mayor's office, I thought maybe that, because first he meets him in the cemetery when they're burying the cop, the funeral for the cop, and then he goes to his office. He gets called in. I thought, well, maybe the commissioner's going to buy the farm here. But then, of course, there's that whole thing about the Philly cheesesteak, and he picks up the wrapper, and there's the photo of the I guess the illegitimate child. Is that what it is? Yeah. So I think there's going to be a moment very soon where I think we're going to see Wilson Fisk Hulk out also. But that scene in the apartment at the end of episode 2 was, wow. That's a Matt Murdock I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Holy God.
His best friend died. He's holding that all in.
Yeah, it has to come out. And it came out in that scene.
That's what I love about Matt. He's like, please don't. Like, obviously, it's a part of, I think, any human being who would, yes, enjoy payback for something that, like, heinous, but you don't want to, you don't want to do, it would feel good, but you don't want to do it. And he really doesn't want to do it. And it's like the Hulk.
All I could think about was, please don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And I'm thinking of Bill Bixby as David Banner, and then boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, and also Wilson. That's the beauty of D'Onofrio's, I think, performance is his voice and his hands, the hand.
Oh, the hand on the table in the diner, right? Yeah.
It's all like he's trying to restrain himself. Like his voice is very restrained. He's always like, it's like, he's like coming out and like.
But that hand, that almost clenching into a fist, that shaking hand, that's the rage that the brain is holding back, but maybe the body can't.
You notice he
left side of the brain, the reptilian brain can't hold back.
His hands always like clanking the table or like holding back, or
no, it's just
it's always acting nuanced choices that they're both making. It's
because acting.
You're really right. Yeah, I never really thought of that. But
it's body language. It's it's a lot of different things. I mean, for 50, almost 60 years ago, Leonard Nimoy could convey emotion by just raising an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Right. And so things like that. So even though he was supposedly emotionless, but we knew what was going on in the pointy head of his.
I mean, and I like how Matt's like, you've lost a little bit of weight. You're a little
right,
there.
He's like, put on some muscle.
Yeah.
Well, Kingpin in the you remember we did Born Again, right? There's that scene where he's taking on all the his henchmen in his weight room, and when he was first introduced in Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, but in issues after that, shortly after that, he could go toe to toe with Spider-Man. Spidey was always like, how could this guy be so strong and so fast? He would call him Chubbo and things like that. He was always insulting him.
He'd always do, even in the Ultimate Spider-Man books, he'd always mess with him. I mean, the whole Peter and Kingpin, the combination together is hilarious. I love it.
It really is. Yeah, they just trade a lot of insults.
That old guy, so good. Yeah, this series is really good. I'm definitely not waiting tomorrow night. I'm watching that right away. It drops at like 9 o'clock. It's not one of those things where it's like midnight tonight. It's like 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Tomorrow, the next episode?
Tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
Okay. I think I may have to, well, it's not a hockey game. Sporting events take preference.
I think they're doing one episode at a time now because we got the first 2 right away. So I think the next.
Yeah, that probably, that's probably. It was smart. I think it was smart of them to drop both episodes, especially when your first episode has that 15-minute gigantic battle and shocker when you kill off a main character. I think you need to like give people a little bit more at that point, because otherwise it would be like ripping off a band-aid and like, oh, this is.
Well,
Yeah.
the first episode began intensely, and then in the second episode ended intensely. So
Yes, nice bookends, right? Very good.
Yeah.
I was thinking that today. Very well bookend. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. The acting, everything's so good. Like Charlie Cox, he's one of those actors in a superhero movie show, whatever. He really, in my opinion, he always has. He nails that character. He's Matt Murdock. He's, he has the rage when he needs it. He's got that charm. He's got that like intelligence. Like I love listening to him doing like his summations in a trial or even his opening. It's so great. And that's another point in this show. It seems like he's kind of off his game. He's not the same, Matt. But like I think he nails that character so well. He's up there with some of the best in the MCU who kind of portray their characters. I love him, and I really hope he gets the opportunity to be in other movies and shows with other characters that he can shine with.
Well, if Kevin Feige is listening, put him in Spider-Man 4.
Yes, I agree.
Please.
And he's also like, not that we've had another Daredevil, but like he's a great Matt Murdock, and he's also a great Daredevil. He's not like just a great Matt Murdock. I think his Matt Murdock's stronger than his Daredevil, but
yeah.
But Daredevil is Matt Murdock. Isn't it like there's like I know he puts a mask on, like Joe, you were saying the mask, but like Matt Murdock is always Daredevil.
Yeah, he's as driven, and but unlike Batman, he also does enjoy like things in life and has a lighter side, and does want more. He wants romance. He probably, I don't know if you ever said he wants kids, but it seems like he wants like those things. And yeah, he is Daredevil, but he's also, he doesn't have to be two separate people because he's kind of like a decent balance.
Yeah, he's
on the scale of neurotics or possible psychotics, Batman is up there. He's even ahead of Dead. Yes, I mean Batman's at the top. Yeah.
I mean, Charlie Cox. I always say the pinnacle in the MCU is like Chris Evans as Captain America is Cap. That's Cap to me. He embodies Cap.
Amazing.
And same thing with Charlie Cox. He embodies in Daredevil. I mean, I've enjoyed most of the casting. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr.
Of course, yeah.
I think Robert Downey Jr. made Tony Stark Robert Downey Jr. But I think but like Chris Evans and Charlie Cox became the characters from.
It's funny you mentioned I listened to an interview with Mark Waid the other day, a couple of days ago, and he even said this thing about Iron Man really quick. He's just like, sometimes like, mostly the comics inform the shows and movies, all that. He's like, but sometimes it goes the other way around. And he's like, when it came to Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., it wasn't like an edict by anyone. He's like, everyone it just was right. Everyone just wanted to write him in that voice after that. Like it wasn't, no one at Marvel told them to write Iron Man with the voice of Robert Downey Jr. It just, everyone is like, oh, this is just how he sounds. Like this is how he should sound.
Yeah, that was all imitating life at that
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm already going off key here at the end of the episode, but I'll just say like, I love Ruffalo, but Bruce Banner, I think Bill Bixby embodied Bruce Banner the best.
Oh, without a doubt. No, yeah, because there was just that. I know there's a scene in the first Avenger movie where he says, "I'm always angry," and he turns into the Hulk and he smashes the giant alien worm.
Yeah.
But Bill Bixby just played it. The tension was always right underneath, right, and you always knew he was going to Hulk out twice an episode. Because that's all I had the money for that. And that's why the show got canceled, because they said, we're going to cut your budget. It can only be one Hulk out. And they said, well, we're not going to do it anymore then. But yeah, Bill Bixby, who was a very good character actor, a very underrated character actor. Really, that's the role he'll always be noted for. Yes, he's my Bruce Banner / Hulk.
Yeah. And I think like Ed Norton and I think even Ruffalo are trying to get some of Bill Bixby when they.
I think they should. Yeah.
That
was the template. Yeah.
I like Ed Norton, his Hulk movie. I really liked it a lot, actually. I feel like it's so underrated. I love it.
His Spanish wasn't too good though, because he said, "You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry." That was a great scene. That was a great line in that movie. And they also addressed the stretchy pants too, right?
Yeah, the stretchy pants. Yeah. Well, audience, we've we've gone off a little bit on Daredevil here
Yes, we have.
into other parts of the MCU, but that's why you come and
Yes, we
listen
do.
to us.
Yes.
So before we wrap up, Joe, you had some questions. Let's see if we can do some any
No, I
roundups
think
for
you answered all my questions. You filled in the what happened, between the end of season 3 and this one. I just like to say that watching these first 2 episodes, I hope this continues, because if it does, this is going to be. I'm going to put this right up there with the best of CBM TV program that I've seen recently, and I would put it right up there with Superman and Lois.
Okay.
That's how-
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
High praise.
yeah.
I've enjoyed a lot of the MCU shows that have come out, but I think this is the best one.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Daredevil, when it came out on Netflix, was the best right away. It's like, that was the template, and Marvel wanted to do other things with and had its ups and downs, but I think going back to this template of not every story has to be dark and gritty, but that's what Daredevil. But I don't know, just the level of writing and commitment to the storytelling that we've seen. I think that's a good template to go forward with future MC shows.
Stay true to the character. If they're dark, great. If they're not,
Right. Yeah.
a great story doesn't have to be either. There's just like myth out there that dark equates like quality, and it's just not true.
Very true.
Yeah. I think like just to go back what you said, it's Keith. This show is it still has the fanciful stuff, because obviously he's talking about Spider-Man. We have a magic ambulance.
Yeah, the magic ambulance. Right. Yeah.
Right, but it's still very grounded. It's grounded in its reality.
So I came to Daredevil very late. It was the last mainstream Marvel or DC superhero that I ever read, and the only reason why I started reading Daredevil was I heard all this hoopla about this Frank Miller guy, and I had to hunt for it in a back issue of 158, the first Frank Miller illustrated Daredevil, and I found it in an old bookstore up in Glendale, Queens, and I think I paid $0.25 for it. But it's not. I wish I would have got an upgrade, because it's barely a VG minus maybe. But it was Frank Miller who brought me to Daredevil.
Yeah. I think he brought a lot of people to Daredevil.
I think you're right. Yeah,
I think I was reading something that before Frank Miller, Daredevil was just another run-of-the-mill superhero, and and Frank Miller brought the pathos to the character, and the grounded level, and the
background with Stick, and then of course Lecture, and a lot of background to the character. Yes.
Yeah. At some point, we're gonna have to do an episode on his Man Without Fear.
I love that. With John Romita Jr., right?
Oh, that might be the best illustrated artwork John Romita Jr. has ever done. Yeah.
In the black suit.
Beautiful comic. I read that book about 3 or 4 months ago. It is exquisitely beautiful, and it's a great story too.
I love it.
Joe, I know your one is your favorite, but Man Without Fear is up there too.
It's a close second, and as far as Daredevil stories go. Yeah, the Brubaker run, the Bendis run, as Keith mentioned, those are all.
I love so much of it. The Bendis run to me is just like that's my favorite. I love it. Like
I like the Wade run too, because it's fun. It's crazy fun, and I like that run also.
I mean, because I followed his movies and stuff. The first Daredevil run I read was The Guardian Devil. That was the first Daredevil thing I read.
It's a good entry point.
It was good. It was really great, and Kevin Smith has because his characters talk so much, he gave a lot of backstory to fill in the character that I had no idea about, and still made it very enjoyable to read.
Honestly, it's funny. Mm-hmm. That was the first Daredevil I ever read too.
Did you really? That's good.
And that was more because I like some of the Kevin Smith movies in the '90s, and some of my friends were like, "Oh, I barely read any Marvel." I told you guys that before at that point. And my buddies were like, "You have to read this," and then I got it, and then Quiver came out, and that's kind of like the time frame. But that was my first Daredevil, and then Bendis, and then back to the Frank Miller stuff like a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we'll have to maybe do a Guardian, because that's my first. It's your first. Josh Murray, that's the first Daredevil he read and fell in love with the character. We might have to do a Guardian Devil episode, because
I bought the Treasury edition of it too.
Oh, really? Oh, that must look beautiful.
You get it on Amazon. It's like a $50 book. I got it for like $25.
I have the Treasury.
Yeah, look on there. Almost all of them are like that. Maybe it might go up to $28 here and there, and it is beautiful.
I mean, that was Quesada, like his height of his power.
Yep. I got that one, and I got the library Treasury edition, or whatever library edition, or whatever they call it, of Daredevil Yellow as well.
Now, are these oversized like the gallery editions? Like the
That's
one I
what I
have
mean.
with
It's
Willie
the one
Gay?
you have for Born Again,
Born
gallery
Again.
edition.
Oh,
That's what
what
it's
a
called.
beautiful. That book is just
I'm getting that one
gorgeous.
next. Now
Oh
I'm going
man,
over it.
that's one of my prized possessions. That book is gorgeous. My
It's
favorite
beautiful.
story in a great package, and you just can just drool over the Frank Miller artwork.
And James, look online. So you can on
Yeah, I'll
Amazon. They're
take a
like,
look.
Yeah,
yeah,
if
it's a
you can
really good
find
deal,
that.
and they're beautiful.
Wow, I'll take a look. Yeah. Well, audience, I think we've given you everything and some
Yeah,
more.
we usually do.
We gave you our thoughts about Born Again episodes 1 and 2, some MCU thoughts, some other Daredevil history. We covered it all. So, of course, I could not have done this episode without my two other hosts. So, thank you very much, Joe.
Oh, thanks, James. Again, I say this a lot, but it's true. This was a hoot. This is really good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to the continuation of this series. See how this first season plays out.
Yes, and absolutely, yeah. And thank you, Keith.
Well, thank you, James and Joe. It's always a pleasure. This was a really fun one.
And audience, if you have your thoughts about the first two episodes, we'd love to hear from you. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, wherever we are, you can leave a comment. You can reach us all over the spaces. We thank you for listening. And our plan, I'm not sure what our plan is for breaking down this series, but we will probably do another one on a few of the episodes, and we will definitely wrap up the whole series. So stay tuned for more Born Again. And we will talk to you on the next episode.